Jack! Hey! Oh, wait, Mr. Bittner, do we need our books?
Yeah.
Have your books?
What was that?
Mr. Bittner, why is it so cold?
I have no idea. I have the heat all the way up. Like I can't turn it any. I can't get it any longer than my breath. I've been freezing.
My face is gonna eat.
The silver pencil now.
It's hot.
Okay.
What is this mysterious little blue on the guy?
Just sit in there.
Oh, we want to. It's on the side.
Just get a tissue and wipe it out. Wait, Mr. Bitter. Who sits in Jada's spot
That's completely inaccurate. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Today, quiet please, so I can get through this. Okay, first things first. If you do not have your novel with you, you need to go get it. If you do not have your novel, please go get it.
Oh, I'm big.
look at everyone's work so I can just call them?
What test are we doing? No.
Why do you question?
Okay. Do we have? Is everybody back? Okay. Today, what we're going to work on today is I have a smartboard review that we're going to start out with over the Outsiders, and then I have a packet that we're going to do as a review. Neither one of those should take all that long. In fact, we should be able to finish both of them in this period. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the packet so that you guys have the correct answers. The difference is the way we're going to do this is that I'm not going to just feed you answers so that you can write them down. I'm going to give you the question. You're going to tell me what you think the answer is. If there's some disagreement, I'm going to ask you to find factual evidence from the textbook to back up your response. And what I mean by factual evidence is I don't want you to just tell me, well, I remember that so-and-so said this. I want you to give me a page number and read it to me out of the book where that happened. Okay? So if there's some disagreement, you're going to need to be able to back it up. But before we do that, we're going to start with the smartboard activity. When we're finished with the other review, the packet review, you will be given a chance to start writing. Okay? If you have questions about writing, or if you are not here on Friday, you'll need to come see me so I can tell you a couple of things. But you'll also need to talk to your group, because some of your groups change their theme. And they change their theme because after we talked about things on Friday, you need to make sure your claims back up your theme. If they don't, or if they're just weak, you needed to change it. I understand that some people needed to start rewriting all over again. See, we're starting off to an awesome week. If that's the case, if you need to start writing again, that's part of the editing process. That happens sometimes. You need to make sure your claim is nicely, your theme, your claim as to what the theme should be, is well backed up by the evidence that you have done research to find. If it's not, then that's a good reason to have changed. Alright, so let's get started on this review. We're going to start with this review. You're not going to, and then we'll go through the other one. There's a couple of different types of questions on this. It is on the outsiders, obviously. So the first question that we're going to have is we're going to have a couple of different questions like this. There are a series of clues. I'm going to bring this little drag racer across the side. And it's going to give you a couple of clues about who a particular character is. At the very end, we'll see if we can guess who the character is before I reveal who it is. And then we'll see how we were right and at what point in time we knew we were correct. So let's go ahead and start. So who is this character? What's the first thing we know about him? We know that they are a greaser. Okay? So that's our first thing. Does that tell us who the character is yet? No. No, okay, could be just about anybody. Movie star handsome. If you know who it is, don't yell it out. Don't yell it out. You know who it is, keep it to yourself. Middle brother. They are a dropout. Do we know who it is yet?
Yes.
Who is it?
Soda.
Sharon.
It is Soda Pop. I don't know why the car doesn't want to go all the way off to the side, but it doesn't. It is Soda Pop. Next question. What is the setting of The Outsiders? Where and when does The Outsiders, the entire novel, take place? Where and when? Brandon? Okay. Okay, during the 1960s. Does it take place in New York City? No, we only have one small reference to New York City, and that's that Dally goes there, or has been there. But do we know, other than that, where it takes place? Do we know the name of the town? No. But what can we say about the town? What do we know about the town? Just. Okay, it takes place in the run-down part of town, so not the nicest part of town. Okay, it takes place in a town that has two sides to the town. Gentlemen, keep them in your mouth. I never thought I'd have to ever say that in a junior high. Never become an issue. So it takes place in a town that has two sides. There are two sides to town, right? And most of the story takes place on the not so good side of town. Right, where the greasers live. Right, that's where most of our story takes place. So we can say that much about the setting. It takes place in a town that has two sides. What are the two sides that they talk about? East and west. East side and the west side. When I was growing up, the town that I lived in, there was a river that flowed right through the middle of town. It was actually a really big river. You had to go on these huge drawbridges to get from one side of town to the other. And it split the town east and west. East and west, east side of town and west side of town. And there was always a kind of a little bit of a rivalry between the people who lived on the east side of town and the people who lived on the west side of town. I grew up on the west side because west is the best.
I know.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah.
So we lived on the west side of town. There was always a big battle. There were two of the biggest high schools. One was on the east side of town. One was on the west side of town. And that was always a huge battle, huge fight in town. So this kind of like sounds a little bit familiar to me. It's because this town was, it could have been just about any town, a no-name town in the middle of nowhere, split between east and west, with a nicer side and a not so nice side. Yes.
You might be able to figure out where they are by the church they went to. You can look up the church in the town so you can find out which one.
Yeah, there's research that you could do to find out where the town might be based on the other things that are referenced around it, but it never gives an actual name to the town. Okay? So we know the setting is the 1960s, a town that's split up between two sides. All right, we have another Who's This character.
I know.
First hint, they're a student.
Oh.
Keep it to yourself. If you know it, keep it to yourself. Number 2, they're a joker. Number 3, Keith. That's all I'm saying. Number 4, they're 18 and a half. How many people know who it is? Before I reveal it, how many people know who it is? All right, people who know who it is, who is it?
2-bit.
It is 2-bit.
Ew. Wait, what's Keith about?
What does Keith mean? What does Keith mean, Lindsay?
Keith is his real name. They just call him.
Keith is his real name. They just call him 2-bit. Does anybody know why they call him 2-bit? Anybody remember why they call him 2-bit? Lindsay, do you know why they call him 2-bit?
Isn't it because, like,
Does anybody know what 2 bits are? What is 2 bits? It actually refers to something. It's a very old saying. It's a very old American.
is it like the shaving a haircut's really good? Or like whatever that was? Because I remember our 5th grade teacher when he was like whoever had Mr. Fowler, they would know what I'm talking about. I know.
Well, that's awesome. But do you know what 2 bits are? 2 bits. It's 50 cents. 2 bits are 50 cents. 2 quarters. 2 bits. 2 bits. 2 quarters. 50 cents. The reason why they call him 2-bit isn't because he's worth 50 cents. It's because, have you ever heard somebody say they're always putting their 50 cents in, or they always have, it's a reference to whenever somebody has something to say. They're always giving you their opinion. They're always putting their 50 cents in. They're always putting their 2 bits in. It's an old saying that would have been very popular around the 60s or earlier. And it would just mean someone who's always got something to say. Someone who's always putting their 2 bits in is someone who's always got something to say. They always have either a smart aleck remark or a comment to make. They're always making some sort of comment, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the conversation is, even if they're not a part of it. They'll just jump in and drop their 2 bits. And so that's why they call him 2 bits, right? He's always got something funny to say. He's always got something to add into every conversation. But his real name is Keith. What is the point of view of the story? How do we learn about outsiders? Click on the iPad. So what is the point of view? Remember we talked about, you have learned about point of view in the past. What is the point of view of the story? What point of view is it told from? Kendall? Ponyboy, so what type of point of view is that, Patrick? First person. First person, it is told through Ponyboy's eyes. You get to read the story as if you were Ponyboy, or you're let into his thought. How do you know that it's first person? Lauren? They say I a lot, that's part of it. How else do we know it's first person? Lindsay? Okay, he introduces himself. Another way that you can tell is you're let in just the narrator tell you what Ponyboy's thinking regularly? Or feeling? They tell you what he's thinking or feeling. If it was from someone else's point of view, they wouldn't know that. They wouldn't know how he was thinking or feeling. So it's first person. It's being told from his point of view, so you're let in on how he's thinking or feeling. Now who's this character?
Okay.
This one you should all get on the first one. I'll be very upset if you don't get on the first one. A spy. Alright, let's move on to the second one. Redhead. You guys definitely should have it now.
I wonder who it is.
Could love Dally.
Oh,
Connected with Pony. Who is it? Who do we think it is? Cherry? It is Cherry. It's not going to let me pull it all the way across. It is Cherry. It is Cherry. Alright. Which character gave up a college scholarship? One of our characters gave up a college scholarship. Grant, who gave up? Who did? Jerry. Do we agree with Jerry? Yeah. Okay, so that leads us to our next question. Why? Why did he give up a college scholarship? Ethan, why did he give it up?
So he can support like his other brothers since his parents died and he would be able to help him out. And if he went to college, he would be able to. Parents died. Needs to support brothers. Needs to support family.
So his parents, family. Parents died, and he needs to support his family, right? So he can't go away to school and do that. If you're up at school, if you're up at school on a scholarship, especially if it's an academic scholarship, or even a lot of times if it's a sports scholarship. Does anybody remember what kind of scholarship he was going away on? Does anybody remember? Didi? Football scholarship, right? Even if you go away to school on a football scholarship, you still have to keep a certain grade, right? How many of you guys play sports here? How many of you guys know that you have to keep a certain grade average to continue playing sports, right? Okay. It's the same. It's the same in college. In college, you have to keep a certain grade point average in order to play sports, especially if you're on a scholarship. And if you don't keep that grade point average, then you will not be able to play sports. And if you're not able to play sports, you will lose your scholarship. Now in college, it takes a lot of work to keep a good grade point average. And so if he's spending all of his time in the classroom working to keep his grade point average, to keep his scholarship, is he going to be able to also work to help take care of his two brothers? No. So what would have happened to his two brothers had he taken the scholarship and gone to college? Brenna? They probably end up in a foster home. And does Jerry want to see that happen? No, he doesn't. He wants to keep his brothers at home. He wants to keep them close. He wants to watch out for them. All right, what is conflict? Not what is the conflict of the story, but define conflict. What do we mean when we say conflict? What is conflict? Jessica. The problem. Problem or problems in the story. Sometimes we have more than one conflict. There could be multiple conflicts going on. There's a lot of times just one main conflict, but there could be multiple ones. So what are some of the conflicts in this story? Kendall. Okay, what's Johnny's parents, how are they a problem? What's the conflict there? Okay. Okay, Johnny versus parents, go.
Ponyboy and Johnny got jumped at the park.
Okay, so that's a small thing that happened, and it's a part of a much larger conflict. So what would that much larger conflict be?
When they had
Okay, which is also part of a much larger conflict. That we could simplify by putting blank versus blank. Okay. Now you went too general on me. Jada.
Greasers versus.
There we go. Greasers. The greasers versus socias. Okay? So now we have, that's a much larger conflict. And there's a whole bunch of those little conflicts. So when they go to the rumble, when there's people getting jumped, when there's different things happening, it's a lot of this greasers versus socias. Okay? Any other conflicts in the story? Jack?
It's Johnny, Ponyboy, and I don't remember if it was Dale or Two-Bit versus the church.
Okay. Anything else? Emily? Johnny versus Derry? Johnny versus Derry?
Tony.
Ponyboy. Ponyboy versus Derry. Anything else? Anything else, Aditi? It could be. I think there's definitely a conflict dealing with Johnny, but it may not be against Ponyboy. Right. Dally versus police. Okay. Anything else?
It's Johnny versus Dally when they're at the movies.
Okay. Johnny versus Dally when they're at the movies. There's a little bit of that going on. Versus what? The whole group of them? But Johnny kind of versus himself too. You have some of that going on too. He's got his own little demons he's dealing with a lot. So we have a bunch of different conflicts in this story. We're not going to go through all of them. All right, next one. The person in the car was arrested at age 10. There's a real JD. Write the person's name here. So who is going in our box? Who's going in our box? Jack, who goes in our box? Dally? It is Dally. Dally was in the car. Dally was arrested at age 10. This one, on the piece of the mirror from the abandoned church, write the themes of the outsiders. You guys have a whole sheet of themes, so we're not going to worry about doing that one. You guys have a whole sheet about the themes. On the graffiti wall, write a character's name and a trait that best fits that character. Can somebody come up with a character trait to fit, let's see here, fit Cherry. Somebody come up with a character trait that fits Cherry. Okay?
She's always
Worried? Okay. Alright, what's one about, Dally? Nice. Ethan? He's mean? Okay. Steve. Sean, did you have one? The blandest character? You haven't talked about it? Tough?
Yeah.
Like what the UFF one? Or the like strong? Okay, what about 2-Bit? 2-Bit, what's a character trait about 2-Bit? Character trait about 2-Bit. Sean, do you have a better one for 2-Bit? Humorous. I'm just going to write funny because it's smaller. Funny. All right, let's go. We'll move on.
What about?
All right, this is our last one. This one has to do with a little bit of our vocabulary. We will have there are 10 vocabulary words on the test, so you will have to know some of the vocabulary. What you're going to do is there are 8 words up here. After I touch this, there's going to be a definition on the bottom. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to read the definition, come up and tap the box that you believe connects to that definition. If you tap the correct box, it will disappear, revealing part of a phrase. Do not try and guess the phrase out loud. That's not the point of doing this. If your box does not disappear, that means you guessed the wrong one. Then you get to go sit back down, and somebody else is going to come and guess one. All right, so let's try these out. Our very first one is understanding, know-how, and intelligence. Which word is that, Lindsay? Go up and tap it. So we have conviction, savvy, nonchalant, stupor, veer, aimless, indignant, and unfathomable. Which one means understanding, know-how, and intelligence? No. Incorrect. Kendall.
He's gonna get it wrong.
Savvy is correct. Next one, unbelievable, hard to understand. Unbelievable, hard to understand. Manali. Unbelievable, hard to understand. Oh, wait, tap it again. Unfathomable is correct. To swerve. To swerve.
I love that word.
Grant. Veer is correct. Casual. Casual. Jessica. Casual.
That does not compute.
Oh, you're the wrong one. All right, casual. Patrick, grab casual.
Nonchalant.
Nonchalant is casual. Very angry. Very angry. Very angry. Brandon. Very angry. Indignant is very angry. Strong belief. A strong belief. Aditi.
I know the answer.
Conviction is correct. Without purpose or direction. Without purpose or direction.
I know it.
Lexi.
Like a wheel.
Super. Super.
Aimless. Correct. Finally, stupor is a dazed state.
Daddy said do it for Johnny. You did it.
Right
All right. Okay. Good job. All right. The test is going to. I do have a packet for you that I'm going to pass out to you, which is. I have a packet that I'm going to pass out for you that is very similar to the test. I want you guys to start working on it. You're going to work on that for probably the rest of the period. At the end of the period, you guys will take your break. When you come back from your break, we're going to go over the packet so that you have the correct answers. But, as I stated, when we go over the packet, we are going to basically pretend that I have no idea what the correct answers are. Okay? That I've never read this book, and I don't know what the answers are. So, if there's a disagreement, if we're all in agreement as to what the answer is, then that's fine. We agree, and that's the answer. If there is some disagreement as to what the answer is, then you're going to need to find textual support to back that up. You'll need a page number and actual wording to back it up. Okay, so I'm going to pass this out to you. And you guys can get started working on this. It will not take that long. It'll probably take longer to go over it than it will to actually do it. Yesterday or was it yesterday? Well, I'll talk about
Teacher.
Yes. Okay, you guys have work to be doing. I expected to see you guys working on that, not chatting. I've had some problems. Don't push it in so hard. It makes it a little bit. It works better that way. That fact, that say it's there, you do not have to write it on a separate sheet of paper. Kendall. When you get back, we're going to go over the answers.
And I had fruit snacks.
Did you finish? I didn't. What? Lauren.
finish, we can do a couple changes to it. and
Thank you. This is my food button.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
I dropped a knife.
So you're gonna kind of keep track of your adventure and before you go out visiting. So basically, it's just kind of like.
Mr. Greener, tell Kendall to stop throwing candy corn at me. Oh my god.
I'm not throwing any candy corn at you.
What's that in your
I'm
hand?
literally tossing it into the cookie.
Didn't I just hear you running down the hall yelling litter, and then you're throwing candy on my floor? Have a seat.
I wasn't running.
I can hear you in here.
I hate those things so much.
Jack, are you
Oh, I
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you guys need quiet, please? How many of you need a couple more minutes on the packet, or is almost everybody finished?
I just feel like I'm
Alright, like 2 minutes. So you'll put out, I'll give you some different options. Like put it all into, into PowerPoint and make a PowerPoint presentation. You could do like a photo show or a video. Yeah, you can do whatever. Okay. Okay. Yep. Alright, like 2 minutes, Tom. We're going over the package. If you're not done, keep working. Okay, let's go ahead and go over this. Alright, remember, I'm going to pretend as though I don't know the answers, so I'm going to ask you guys some questions. If there is some disagreement about these, then you guys need to settle that by finding factual evidence from the text to back up your response, which means you need to go back, look into the book, find a page number, find a quote, pull it out. Just saying, oh, well, I remember this time when Ponyboy said this thing. That doesn't count. Tell me where it is. Information off the top of your head does not count as actual evidence. So, number one, still doesn't count. You have to show it to me in the book. How do I know you memorized it correctly? Number one, S.E. Hinton, the author, wrote The Outsiders from which character's point of view? A. Gary, B. Johnny, C. Ponyboy, D. The Curtis brother. What is the correct answer, Ethan? C. Ponyboy. Are we in agreement?
Yeah.
Does anybody disagree?
No.
Okay, number two. The setting of the story takes place in A. New York, B. a small farm town, C. a suburban area with two sides of town, or D. a church. What is the correct answer for that, Justin? C. That's what you said, correct? How many people agree with C? Anybody have a disagreement? Lindsay, what do you think? Think it's New York?
I think it's actually both because they kind of do divide up the town, and it kind of is just that kind of area.
I can tell you one thing about the answer. It's going to be one of, unless there is a specific, like A and C answer, it's one of, you're going to have to pick one of them.
Yeah,
It's one of them, and only one of them. Jack, what do you think?
See, because the book it says Dally has visited.
Okay. Can you find can you find the textual evidence to back that up? The actual page number where it says that to back that up? Lindsay, can you find? Yes.
If they're like four and they're visiting, how could you have one to go to?
Because he wasn't always. He didn't. Well, you tell me. You're gonna defend your answer. I didn't read the book.
Yeah, he did. You could ask to keep it.
All right, number three. Which of the following statements is? Well, you guys keep looking. If you're want to defend your answer, you keep looking up your answer while we go along. Number three. Which of the following statements is not true about 2-Bit Matthews? A. He always has to get his 2 bits into a conversation. B. He thinks Ponyboy is a tag-along. C. He's the oldest of the gang and enjoys school. Or D. He enjoys drinking alcohol and stealing. Which one of those is not true? Sorry. Brenna. C. He is the oldest of the gang and enjoys school. How many people agree with C as the correct answer? Just say yeah. Yeah. Are there any who oppose? Any who disagree? Okay. We're going to go with C then. Moving on. All right, number two, people. Has anybody found any different evidence to back it up yet? Okay. Number four. Lindsay, did you say you found something? Okay. Number four. Whom does Johnny idolize? Is it A. Dally, B. Ponyboy, C. Soda Pop, or D. Dairy? Who does Johnny idolize? Brandon. B. Ponyboy. Are we all in agreement with Ponyboy? No, there's some disagreement. Manali, what do you say? Dally. How many people are in agreement with Dally? Yeah, a few. All right, find me some support to back it up. Somebody's got to tell me, find me a place in the book that tells me which one he actually idolizes. We're gonna pause here for a minute while they look that stuff up. You gotta tell me. You gotta look it up. I didn't read the book. That's how we're playing this game. Grant.
Since they went down to Texas.
Okay.
No, it says that Dally threw the police off, and from New York, it said it took them they were on the train for 45 minutes.
And they went to Texas? So if they were on the train for 45 minutes and had gone to Texas, that would mean that they could not be in New York.
But
unless it's a super fast train.
they're actually quite the system.
Did they have one in the 1960s? Yes, Aditi. No, originally during our review, we didn't say it was in New York. We said something else. Yes.
Number 3, it says that he is the oldest of the gang, and he does like school.
He is.
He
He's
is?
the oldest of the
book.
gang.
Yeah, it says Cubit Matthews was the oldest of the gang, and he likes school.
Are
Okay.
you sure it's like saying, oh, this is a
I said it was
lie?
C, but barely is.
But remember the question. Remember the question. The question says, which one is not true?
Yeah, and it says that it is in the story.
So it couldn't be C. It couldn't be that he's the oldest in the gang. Right? So the question is which of the statements is not true about Two-Bit? In C, he's the oldest in the gang and enjoys school. He does do that, so those are both true. So it's not C.
If we just did it,
No, it says it.
What page? What page, please? Page number. Dude, what is up with you? You're always like, Steve thinks he's an idiot. She's like,
Yes. But primary textual evidence back it up.
Go find Steve.
Okay.
Okay. So we know number 1 for number 3. So let's look at number 3. We can safely say that the correct answer is not C because we've already found a piece of evidence where it says that he is the oldest in the gang and he enjoys school. So we can cross out C. It's not C. So it's got to be something other than C for number 3. Yes, Lindsay?
I know it's not B because on page 9 it says, I like Steve only because he was his best friend. He didn't like me. Well, that could be the answer because Steve thought he was tag-along.
So Steve thinks he's a tag-along, but does Two-Bit think he's a tag-along? It doesn't say that he does, no.
Okay,
Okay.
so he always has to be Two-Bit in the conversation. His name is Two-Bit.
Okay, so we know that that one's true.
And we know that he is the oldest in the game and he goes to school.
Okay.
You read that he enjoys drinking alcohol and stealing.
All right, so we know that A, C, and D are all true about him. So D, or I'm sorry, B would be the correct answer. B is the correct answer. It's Steve that thinks he's the tag-along, not Two-Bit. Two-Bit's friend Steve thinks he's a tag-along. We just clarified the answer for 3, which is B. All right, and then we had number 4. Whom does Johnny idolize? We had a couple of different people looking into that one. Did anybody come up with an answer to that? Do we have a definitive answer on 4? Jack?
Daly.
Okay, do you have any evidence to back it up? Alia's got some evidence to back it up.
It says there's still lots of rhythm in him. Tell Daly I don't think he knows you're letting Johnny. And he's trying to say that Daly
Okay. So here we talk about Johnny leaves a message specifically for Dally. And one of the reasons he could do that is because he idolizes it. Okay? There's also an event in, I'm going to pretend that for just a second that somebody told me a little bit about the story. In chapter 3, don't the girls start to kind of attack Dally? And they make fun of him and talk about how bad a person he is? Who's the one person who sticks up for Dally? Johnny. Why would Johnny do that? He idolizes him. So the correct answer for number 4 is A, Dally. Whom does Johnny idolize? Dally. Number 5, we're moving on. I think we've got all of our major questions solved. Number 5, tough means what? Jessica. Cool. D, does everybody agree with cool?
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, several times throughout the text, Ponyboy mentions Derry's icy blue eyes. What do Derry's eyes suggest about his personality? Kendall.
Cold means much.
Do we agree with B?
Yes.
Yes. Does anybody disagree with B? Okay, B is our answer. Number 7, in The Outsiders, the color blue is repeatedly mentioned, making it a motif, a reoccurring symbol. What is associated with the color blue? What list of things are associated with the color blue? Oh yeah. Okay. Is that the best answer out of the group? Do we agree with C?
Yeah.
Does anybody disagree with C? Jessica? A?
Oh, just
Does anybody else want to disagree with C? Aditi? The Sox Mustang was blue, but the Sox Mustang appears in all 4 answers. The Sox Mustang was blue. The sky is almost always blue, but I don't remember them talking about it specifically.
Well, they were looking up at.
Does anybody remember Ponyboy's t-shirt?
It was white.
It was white. Ponyboy's t-shirt was white. Let me ask you a question about C, just because, you know, I didn't read the story, so I don't know. Were all of the Madras' shirts blue?
No, but it said somewhere with the blue.
Okay, but they weren't all blue, there was just one of them that was blue? Okay, were all of the Mustangs that appeared in the story blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were
No matter what, it's gonna be
Yeah.
So, this thing is kind of just there, no matter what.
No matter what, it has to do with the
Alright, then let's look at let's look at A. Dally's eyes, Derry's eyes, and the Sox Mustang. Were Dally's eyes blue?
Wait,
I don't know.
Somebody check for me. Were Derry's eyes blue?
Yes.
Yes, it says so in the question before. The Sox Mustang, we know that at least one of them was blue. Somebody check and see on Dally's eyes.
It's supposed to represent something. You do? I think there was just
I'll give you a little hint. It might be in the description of him at the very beginning of the book.
I thought you did.
I didn't. I just know where most things are found in the book. Oh yeah, what'd you find? Yeah, read the whole thing. Quiet, please.
If I had to pick the real character of the day, it would be Dally Dally. I used to like to draw his picture when he was in dangerous mood, so down to get his personality down in every line. He had an elfish face with high cheekbones and a pointed chin. Small, sharp animal seemed to breathe like a man. His hair was almost white, it was so blonde. He looked into his life like or hair or a wig. So it fell over his forehead and wrist, and he got in the back and tucked his close behind his ears and along the base of his neck. His eyes were blue, wavy. I was told it to be like he was holding it.
So Dally's eyes are blue. Derry's eyes are blue. The Mustang is blue. So what is our correct answer for number 7?
Hey, dude.
A.
Oh. Hey!
I'm so hey, That's our second guess.
Number 8. Number 8. In chapter 1, Ponyboy says, I was still lying and I knew it. I lie to myself all the time, but I never believe me. What is he lying to himself about? What is he lying to himself about? Brenna.
Nope.
How many people agree with A? Alright, does anybody have a differing opinion? Different opinions. Jessica, what do you think?
Well, I said B. Yeah.
How many people agree with B? Alright, somebody find me some evidence.
I got it. Page 18.
You got it? Alright, go ahead.
Okay. So it says, I thought Derry does
Okay, so in this section, he is lying about the fact that he doesn't love dairy. So it is B. Number 9, which of the following can be construed as a symbol or symbols that represent the greasers? Skylar.
A and C.
Okay, but you only get to pick one.
Ooh, I have an answer.
You only get to pick one. Grant.
Or symbols.
D, all of the above.
Yes.
Let's investigate D. So we have long greasy hair. Does that kind of represent the greasers?
Greaser.
Okay. Madras shirts. Does that represent the greasers?
No.
No. Who wears the Madras shirts?
The social.
The Socias. So it can't be B. And if it can't be B, that means it also can't be D. So let's look at C. Switchblades.
Yeah.
Do all of the greasers carry switchblades? Do all of the greasers have long, kind of greasy hair? So which one do we think it is? A. Your correct answer is A.
But it says symbols.
It says symbol or symbols.
Because it says switchblade, so that's the symbols.
Okay. Number 10. Which of the following can be construed as a symbol or symbols that represent the Socias? Manali. Okay, Madras shirts do represent the Socias. Do we have any disagreement?
Yes.
Let's see, disagreement. Lexi, what do you think?
I think it's all of the above.
All of the above? How many people agree with all of the above?
I do.
All right. I'm going to go with, I agree with all of the above.
They're Mustangs. It means they're supposed to be driving.
Which of the following factored into shaping Johnny's shy, nervous personality? Emily. All of the above. How many people agree with all of the above?
Yeah.
Good call. Next question. With whom does Ponyboy feel comfortable discussing clouds, sunset, and poetry? Kendall. A. How many people are in agreement with A? Anybody disagree with A? Brandon? Do you disagree with A? C? Does he talk about poetry and sunsets with Dally?
No.
No, he probably wouldn't.
I think we can narrow this down.
Number 13. How does Ponyboy get a concussion? Jack. Here. Sorry.
A social hit him in the head during the rumble.
Does everybody agree with C?
Yes.
Anybody have any different opinions?
No.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, what's your question?
Why is there no E in the word fire?
Because it's a typo.
Fur.
Number 14. In chapter 2, Cherry tells Ponyboy things are rough all over. Finally, in chapter 7, Ponyboy figured out what she meant by that statement. What did she mean?
I know girl didn't mean that.
Grant.
Yeah.
D. Everyone has problems and suffering is part of the human condition. How many people agree with that?
I do.
Anybody in disagreement? D is your answer.
Yay.
Number 15. Why did Ponyboy say Dally wanted to die? Jada.
Because Johnny was his closest friend, and when he died, Dally had no one left, basically.
B is the answer that's on the table. How many people agree with B?
I do.
Do we have any people who disagree with B? B is your answer. Number 16, the major theme of The Outsiders is what? What is the major theme of The Outsiders? Ethan.
B. Get to know someone before
Are you sure it's not A?
Yes.
Perfect.
Always carry a heater?
What is a heater? What is that?
Heater's slang term for a gun.
Oh, we done it. I'm like, why would you do that?
Is everybody
There's a code for that.
is everybody in agreement for B?
Yes.
Do we have anybody who disagrees with B for the answer? C? I will say this, remember that a theme is the lesson that the author wants you to learn. So do you think the author wants you to learn that rich people and poor people will never get along?
Totally don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Alright, number 17. Number 17, how is Ponyboy different from the rest of the gang? Brandon. How many people agree with A? Anybody disagree, have a different opinion? Disagree? Okay. Alright, true, false. These we can go through a lot faster. And so you guys will have time to write. 18, Dally got run over by a police cruiser. Guys, I can't. There's like a bunch of conversations and I have 2 people answering. Number 18, Dally got run over by a police cruiser. False. Cherry went to the hospital to see Johnny. False. Ponyboy fainted when Johnny died. I'm listening to you guys. Is it false? How many people said true?
I did.
Alright, prove it. We're gonna move on. Number 21, Soda Pop's real name is Keith. False. Whose name? Who is it? 2-Bit's name is Keith. 22, Ponyboy testified at his court hearing. Was what? Testifies when you get up, like when you have to take the stand and they ask you questions and you have to talk, or you give a statement. You just get up and you say something. Find it. 23, Johnny left a note for Ponyboy inside his copy of Gone with the Wind. True. Okay, we have 2 that are up, that are being questioned right now.
Wait, did we have
The first one was number 20, Ponyboy fainted when Johnny died. That one's being questioned. So I'm hoping somebody finds some factual information to back up whether that's true or false. And the other one is that Ponyboy testified at his court hearing. You need to find some evidence to back that up. Did he or didn't he?
Well, for number 2, was it a suburban area of Tucson?
Correct.
Those little brain busters.
Somebody find me some evidence. Okay, what'd you find? Alright, quiet please. Quiet please.
And lots of faces and visions of things past were dancing in the redness I covered the lot. It swirled into a mass of colors and I felt myself swaying on my feet. Someone cried for it like a kid and the ground rushed up to meet me very suddenly.
Okay, and when did that happen?
It was like right after that.
Right after Dally died. So he fainted after Dally died, not after Johnny died. So he fainted after Dally died. So the question of, did he faint after Johnny died? It is false. He fainted after Dally died. Okay, what about our last one? Jessica, did you find evidence for our last one? 22, Ponyboy testified at his court hearing. Alright, Jessica, you keep looking that up. I'm going to go to the final question. This is the final question.
Oh, I found the answer to that one.
You found the answer?
So it says very important.
Okay, go ahead. What?
168, yeah.
168?
Yeah, it says, I thought the judge would never get around to questioning me, man. I was scared, I almost quit by the time he did, and you know what? They didn't ask me, like, off day,
Okay, so there, the judge asked him questions. The judge asked him questions, that's a testimony. He gave his testimony at the trial. So, there you go. The answer is true.
Yes.
22 is true.
Yes.
Ponyboy testified at his court hearing. The judge asked him questions, he testified. Okay, final question. The last question, 24. Why did S.E. Hinton title the book The Outsiders? What does the word outsiders signify? Who are the outsiders in the story? I want your guys' thoughts. What did you say? What did you say? How did you answer the last question? Aditi, how did you answer the question? Well, go ahead and read what you wrote. Quiet, please. Okay. Jessica, what did you write?
I said the Greasers were the outsiders because they didn't really fit in, and like they didn't fit in, so they kind of stood out more than people.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else write anything different? All right. You want to share what you wrote?
Okay. I
6
wrote-
words.
That's more than 6 words, it's 10 words.
Okay.
So much more.
Go ahead.
I thought outsiders meant people that might not belong like the Greasers.
Okay. People that might not belong in the Greasers.
Like the
All right.
Greasers.
Like the Greasers. Okay. I think there's a major reason why this book is entitled The Outsiders and not The Greasers or The Socias. An outsider, to answer that question, you really have to go to the second question, which is, what does outsider signify? What does it mean to be an outsider? Lauren?
Well, I thought it was like one that doesn't fit in.
It's one who doesn't fit in. It's one who is literally outside of the group. And in order to have a group, you have to have something outside of the group. That's just the way things work. Once you start grouping things together, it immediately means that you are excluding something else. In order to be in the group, there has to be somebody who's outside of the group. Otherwise, the group is the entirety. So you have people who are outside of the group. They are not a part of the group. And we have a lot of different people who are outside of groups in this story. You have the Greasers, for example, who are outside of the rest of society. They're a separate little group. They don't have as much money. They dress in a certain way. They're a little bit more violent or criminal in some ways. And so they are outside of the normal group. But so are the Socias. The Socias come from the upper class. They have a lot of money. They have their own problems. They're also separate from the rest of society. They are also outside of the rest of society. So both groups, in one way, shape, and form, are outsiders. They're outside of the normal society, the rest of society. But they are also outside to each other. They're outsiders to each other. But even inside the group, there are outsiders inside the group. There are people who don't necessarily fit in. Ponyboy doesn't think that he fits in. He feels like an outsider in the group. Johnny feels like an outsider in the group. Even at times, Dally feels like an outsider in the group. He ends up killing himself because the only person he connects with in the group is Johnny, and Johnny dies. And now he's left alone. So every single character that we see in this book either is a part of an outsider group or feels like an outsider at some point in time. And it's sort of the way that each one of us can feel or has felt at one point or another. I'm sure that every single one of you, if I asked you, there's been at least one point in time where you have been in a situation where you didn't feel like you belonged. You felt like an outsider. It could be just a minor feeling, but there's almost always been a case where one of us has felt like we are outside of the rest of the group. We didn't necessarily belong where we are. That's how the author felt. That's how Ponyboy felt. That's how Johnny felt, that's how the greasers felt, and that's how the socials felt. They were all outsiders to something. They didn't feel a part of the group. Okay. Ethan. Question. Yeah. Even Cherry could feel like an outsider at different points. They all have outsider tendencies. Right? The title Outsiders encompasses all of the characters, not just the greasers or the socials. Alright, you guys will have a few minutes to work on your writing. I do want to talk to you really quickly about the test so you know what to expect. It's about about 64, 65 points. There will be 10 vocabulary words that will come from your regular vocabulary words that you've already had and had quizzes on. So use those to study your vocab words. If you don't have those, they're still online on my website on the social media page. You can still find them there. For the major part of the test, you will come in, you will take the test. You will not be allowed to use your book or any other notes on the majority of the test until it comes to the last question. The final question, you will be able to use your book. But in order to take that question, you have to turn in the rest of the test to me. Then you will get to use your book, and you will finish up the test. And then once you are done with the test, you will give me your book and your completed test. Okay? Once I have your book and your completed test, I will mark your name off of the sheet that's here that has your book on it. So long as you give me the book that has your number next to it. If I don't get your book back, your book, not somebody else's, if I don't get your book back, then you will get a little note from me telling you how much money you owe me. Why? Because we have to make sure that we have all these copies of these books for next year's class. So if you lose a book, you owe me money. Well, technically you owe Miss Campusano money. But either way, I don't know exactly. Last year's they were, I think, $9. But this one might be more, I don't know. Yes, Jeff?
If you were to lose it, will you buy a copy of the
No, because they need to be the same copies. Because we need the same page numbers and everything for everybody. So if you can go out and buy a different edition, it might have different page numbers. Does that make sense? So it has to be the same one. And we get a better price on it through someone else. So. Any other questions? If you lost your copy, I will give you a little note tomorrow. Yes. I don't know yet. Any other questions about The Outsiders? The last question, the one that everyone keeps asking me, is whether or not we're going to watch the movie. Here's the answer to that question. I do want to watch the movie, but I don't want to watch the movie right now. I don't want to watch it. We don't have time to watch it this week. We have too much. Patrick. We don't have time to watch the movie this week. We have too much to do with writing our paper. And next week, it just doesn't fit into what we're doing next week either. What I think I would like to do is to hold on to it and wait and save it for right before either Christmas break or right before Thanksgiving break.
Thanksgiving.
One of the two. I'll find out. I'll decide. So, one of the two. We'll either save it right before Thanksgiving break or right before Christmas break. It'll probably be right before Christmas break. Because the semester ends right before Christmas break. So we'll probably save it for right then, those last couple days before Christmas break, and we'll watch it, and then you guys can go away for Christmas break. So I do plan on watching it at this point in time, just not anytime soon. Any other questions about that? All right, if you'd like to take a couple minutes to work on your writing, I would highly recommend you do that. I know it's only got about 3 minutes left. I apologize for that. Okay, be ready for the test. His name?
Wait, the author is a boy? I thought it was a girl.
No, you have 3 minutes before period. Oh, we're going to talk about counterclaim tomorrow. I didn't do it today because I wanted to get this reviewed. But after... Sorry, Grant just reminded me tomorrow after the test. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow after the test, I will talk to you guys about counterclaim or ACAR, as I like to call it. And then we will, and then you will have time to write after the test. Tomorrow. More time. Test tomorrow.
I'm trying. I was trying to do it work. Dude, I just stapled it. Like, no joke. I just. What? America's number one in lawnmower. You guys suck. Brandon, you're bad. America's number one in lawnmower.
Yeah, I just got Snapchat and I don't understand it at all, so yeah.
Third time. No, actually, fourth time.
Snap kids. Because you know you have to be like 16 to put it together. I put in my real age every time. This bitch so I just put a snap kids. Apparently since I was under 13, I had to. I've been doing it. So maybe like 30. I didn't have your birthday. I just didn't make shit. I do
How's your arm? Hey.
There's a camera on top of it, and it records the whole class. Look, there's a camera right inside there, and
Where?
he's the class. Look, right there.
No, it's not.
Is that in
It's
there?
on top of the projector.
Oh, okay, right there.